Okay, hello. Hello, Crystal. How are you? And Heidi, Nicole, thank you for joining today. So can you hear me okay? Okay, hey Heidi. Great. Well, welcome to today's Goddess Circle. It's nice to see everyone. So if you have a candle, you can light a candle now. I usually like to light one right at the beginning, starts to create that sacred space, but you don't need to. We can also create the sacred space just with our intention. Oh, hey, Nicole, nice to see you.
Nice to
Glad
see
you could make it. Yeah, it's been a while. So it's nice to see folks. So thanks for coming. So before we get started, let's just take a moment to arrive. So let's just, we'll clear the energy. So maybe you sit up tall, you can close your eyes. Let's just take a moment just to come back into our bodies. You can start to do that by focusing on the breath. Maybe you bring a palm to your heart and to your belly. And just reorienting yourself. And really considering this time that we have together is truly sacred. So even though we are not in the same physical location, we are in the same present moment, and we are creating a circle where we can connect with one another. We'll discuss, share ideas, and just talk about what it means to evolve. I like to imagine that we're on the beach somewhere with a bonfire burning right in the middle. Maybe you can hear the waves as they come up onto the shore, as the tide rolls in and then rolls back out. Maybe you even imagine that you're taking your sister's hands. So you're holding hands in this circle, in this sacred space, this container that we're creating. You can give the hands a squeeze. And you feel a squeeze back too. Whatever was going on before, earlier today, or whatever you may need to do after our circle, you're just leaving that. The intention just to stay present so we can witness and share with each other. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Okay, well, welcome, beautiful souls. So nice to see you. So I think I know most of you now, but if I don't, my name is Lisa Rankin. So I'm author, teacher, and I'll be the facilitator of the circle. So my book, The Goddess Solution, that's a practical spiritual guide that teaches women how to take inspiration from ancient goddesses and really apply it to their modern lives. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight too. So we're going to be talking about the goddess Kali. And Kali is the Hindu goddess of transformation and breaking through the status quo. So I'm going to share a little bit more about her. And then I have some fun exercises that we're going to get into, kind of connect with where we might see Kali's energy in our life, and also where we might want to see Kali's energy in our life. So we're going to talk about that too. So that's also, we're going to talk about, when we kind of feel stuck and things are okay, but they're not great, but we might be in a little of an ennui. We don't really have that energy, that impetus to kind of move forward. And that's really when Kali comes in. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. I also wanted to talk about just the agreements for the circle. So there's the confidentiality. So there are going to be some group shares and discussions. So I like to say, what gets said in the circle stays in the circle. It's kind of like Vegas, but much more sacred. Feedback too. So often when we hear people, if they're sharing, we want to give feedback, whether it's to empathize or say, oh yeah, that happened to me too. But in this case, we really just want to let people share and we want to witness. And that's because most people, we have all the wisdom we need inside us already to move forward and to make skillful decisions. So if you feel that urge to say like, maybe you should try this, or maybe you should do that, just see if you can resist that. And it's not that we don't want to help one another, but really we're here to witness one another and create that space where we can have that space to tap into our own inner wisdom, because really everything you need truly is within you. But one thing we can do, so if somebody is talking and something's really resonating, it's called beaming. So it's kind of like just beaming love. So with your hands, you can do that. And that's kind of like, I see you, I hear you, I feel you. And that's the way. And I do want to make sure that we all get a chance to talk as well too. The third is just presence. So you've made the effort to be here. And I see that we have women from at least the United States and Canada. Oh, and I think Jill is trying to connect and she's in France right now too. So we've truly got women from all over the world, which I think is just really amazing and beautiful. And then timing. So I know your time is sacred. So when I've done these circles in the past, I think I originally allotted 60 minutes, and then they tend to go a little bit over, like closer to 90 minutes, but we have a smaller group tonight. So we definitely won't exceed 90. I bet it will be at like 75, but you just never know how the discussion goes. So if you do have to leave at any point, I totally understand, but we won't go over 90. So what we're going to do, so first we're going to call the goddess into our circle. And what we do that is just through an invocation. So that's kind of like a prayer. And basically we're just inviting the goddess to be with us, to sit with us, so we can connect with her energetics. Hello, Jill. Hey, Callie. And nice to see you. And then we're going to discuss where we see her energy today. And generally we would do breakout rooms where we'd have a chance to kind of connect with groups of like maybe 3 or 4. And let's see, maybe we do 2 breakout rooms, but maybe we also just stay in the same space together since we have a smaller group and we don't even need to do the breakout rooms today. And I do have this recorded because I know there's a lot of people that can't make it and then they like to watch on the recording. Generally, breakout rooms are not recorded. So if we don't go in the breakout rooms, that would be recorded, but I can also delete that before sharing it because I also want people to feel like, this is a sacred container and it's not going to be posted. So generally like the things that are shared are the journaling exercises, the meditation, this kind of opening dialogue. But I think I will cut out the conversation when I share the replay, just so people feel that it's still this sacred container. And yeah, please try to share, of course, if you had a crappy day and you just here want to listen and just witness, that's fine too. We're going to end with, we'll do some journaling exercises, a mantra meditation, and yeah, it should be good. So let me start just telling you a little bit about the goddess Kali. So I'm going to read a little bit just about her myth from my book, The Goddess Solution. And then we'll talk a little bit about the energetics. And then we're going to invite her in just through an invocation. So first, I also just wanted to show you guys a picture of Kali. So this is from one of my goddess oracle cards. So you can see she's pretty fierce looking, huh? She's like dark blue. She's got wild disheveled hair. She has skeleton arms for her skirt. She has baby skeletons as earrings. And you're probably like, what kind of goddess is this? It's not really kind of like the typical like beautiful Oshun or Aphrodite, that we see, but you're going to see that she's actually a very loving goddess. So let me give you a little bit about her myth. So Kali is an intense goddess. Her appearance is truly fearsome. She's often depicted as dark blue in color, disheveled, with blood dripping from her mouth. She wears a garland of skulls around her neck, has a belt of severed arms, and wields multiple weapons. She even wears baby skeletons as earrings. So what kind of goddess is this, you may be asking? And this is the type of goddess who has so much love for you, she will fight fearlessly for your freedom. So according to one myth in Hindu mythology, Kali was called on by the powerful warrior goddess Durga to help save the universe from a half buffalo, half demon named Raktibija. The demon had amassed too much power and was causing chaos across the earth and heavens. The three gods of the Hindu trinity, Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma, couldn't stop the demon because Raktibija was immune to all men's powers. He was not, however, immune to the powers of a woman or a goddess, and right, really, who is? That's why. Still, despite her strength, Durga was having a difficult time defeating the demon because every time a drop of blood spilled to the earth, thousands more demons sprang forth. With concentration and determination, Durga called forth her sister goddess, Kali, from her third eye. Kali was wrathful and ready to fight. She ran toward Raktibija and skillfully cut off his head with her sword. Blood started to gush out of the demon's neck. Kali opened her mouth wide to catch the blood so that not a drop touched the earth, and this stopped the demons from multiplying. Once Raktibija was defeated, Kali began to dance wildly in victory. All her stomping caused destruction to the earth. She was uncontrollable. Shiva, the lord of destruction, and her consort threw himself at her feet to stop her. So that's a pretty big thing. So if the god is throwing himself at her feet to stop the goddess, and only when she was realized she was about to stomp on Shiva, did she end her wild dancing and return to Durga. Space was cleared and order was restored. So Kali Shakti is the energy we feel when we're pulled to live freely, authentically, and maybe a little wildly. So that's the story of Kali. So I like to think of Kali as the energy that we feel in when something bad happens, whether it's divorce, health crisis, or like a financial crisis. So when things seem like everything is sort of falling apart, and you're like, oh my God, my life is crumbling. You can think of that as Kali. And it's not that your life is crumbling, it's that she is clearing the way so you can rebuild in a way that's more authentic to you. So that's where it comes as they say, she is the most loving mama. She loves us more than anyone because she wants us to live our most authentic life. So you might have like noticed times when that has happened to you, whether it's a relationship where maybe it's kind of felt comfortable, but you no longer felt like you were evolving or had the space to grow, or a job that maybe felt like it had financial security, but lacked inspiration, but different structures. And often they're structures that we've worked really hard for, right? Like whether it's the relationship or the career, but after a while, we can start to feel that we've plateaued. And Kali is that energy which forces us to move forward. And I think you probably have noticed that in your own life or with friends, something really bad happens sometimes, but after someone's had a chance to process, they're in a much better position. It's like they've kind of refound themselves and they were able to do things that they maybe hadn't had done in the past. So that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about today. So I think Kali is like that chance. It's almost like getting a redo when you're kind of like everything gets cleared away from you. And because sometimes the shifts that we want to make can seem too large, like whether it's breaking up or leaving your job. But Kali's kind of that energy that kind of goes through kind of like a tornado that knocks everything out of our way. So we have that opportunity to really rebuild again. And one thing I just noticed that I forgot to do, I think I was so excited to get started, is let's just take a moment. I want to welcome you guys. If you want to type your name in your chat, just let us know where you're from too, and what your intention is for this circle. I don't know if anyone's typing. I don't see anything, but maybe maybe things just aren't. Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. Great. We've got Heidi from Washington State, looking to connect with other women. Yes. Crystal from Kansas. Yes, along with Lilith. Yeah, and there's some similarities between the two, both very strong, independent, powerful goddesses. Callie in Tampa. Okay, great. So let's invite Kali in through an invocation. So like I said, an invocation is like a prayer, and we can use it to call the goddess into our circle. So you can kind of close your eyes, just get into a comfortable seat. You can say, Kali, goddess of transformation, thank you for guiding us through challenging times so we can really evolve into the most authentic version of ourselves. And even when things seem to be crumbling, or we feel like we're in the same spot, stuck in the same situation with little energy to move forward, we know that you're supporting us and have our best interest in mind. Mahakali, you love us fiercely and want what's best for us. You want to see us grow, evolve, and find meaning in our lives. Help us remember that our growth and evolution does not always feel good at times, but we have the strength, the power, and the courage, conviction to move forward. And then when the structures that we've created started to crumble, let that act as a reminder that it's simply time to move on. Our setbacks are a chance for us to show our resilience and cultivate wisdom. And let us use your sword of discernment so we can better understand when to stay and when to break free. And Kali, with this invocation, we call upon you to give us the courage to move on from old structures and outdated behaviors so we can evolve into the best version of ourselves. Okay, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So again, Kali is that energy. So it's her Shakti that really gets us to spur into action. So I was going to tell you a little bit about where I've seen Kali in my life. And also then we're going to have some time to share where you might have seen Kali in your life. So as I mentioned, so Kali she's less concerned about our safety. So you can picture her, if we think of her as the mother, the Mahakali, you can picture her, we want what's best for our children. We want them to live authentically, to reach their full potential. But we know that sometimes, as we go along in life, we start out and then sometimes we plateau. So Kali is that force where she's like, no, I don't want you to stay safe. I don't want you just to get comfortable in a job or a relationship or, watch you kind of like just not take care of your body. So she's that impetus that we start to feel when something starts happening and we're like, oh, I guess I have to move on. So she's kind of that nudge that we need sometimes to start taking action. Because, as humans, it's an interesting paradox. Part of us really craves safety and structure, but then our souls kind of want to evolve and we want to keep learning and we want to try new things. So part of what we need to do as both humans and as these divine spirits is be able to navigate between that. And that's not to say that we go full not safety, where we're kind of all wild and chaotic. That wouldn't feel really good, but it also wouldn't feel really good, if we kind of just stayed in one spot and never did anything. And that's where we kind of start to learn where we need to flow between the two. I used to have a yoga teacher and he always said this, and it always kind of reminded me of Kali. He used to be like, ships are safe in the harbor, and ships aren't built for the harbor. It's funny. I say that to my children sometimes, like when they're afraid of doing something at school, and I'll tell them that. They'll be like, I want to stay in the harbor. And it's like, no, we need to, we also need to take these chances. We need to grow. We need to evolve. And like I said, I think Kali, she's pretty destructive. So if you hear in the myth, after she went kind of on this spree of killing all of the demons, she was so excited. She was dancing wildly, uncontrollably all over the earth. And she was kind of wreaking havoc on the earth as well, too, that Shiva had to throw himself at her feet to get to stop. So Kylie doesn't come and just like gently tap us on the shoulder to be like, okay, I think it's time to move on. Maybe you should do something a little bit more interesting. She kind of comes with like, here's your pink slip. your husband's having an affair or you're having an affair, it's just it's a little bit more like you need to do something. Like it's not the gentle nudge of, I think that, you should move on. But that's not to say, as goddesses, we don't need to wait for disaster to strike either. So I think like knowing this, we can also start to say like, yeah, this is starting to feel a little too safe, or I'm not really feeling that I'm growing as much. So we don't need to wait for disaster to strike. I definitely don't want you to take that out of this. Like, I'm just going to wait until something bad happens. But it's just that perspective that we can take when things do happen, kind of that we weren't prepared for, or maybe weren't looking forward to. We can kind of reframe it to say, like this is probably opening doors for me that were actually closed. And, I think if you think back into your life and lives of friends, you'll see that often sometimes these things do have these unexpected blessings that even at the time when they seem a bit ominous, they actually have given room for growth. It gives us the opportunity to do things that we hadn't done before. Like if you think of like the situation with a job, you weren't expected to get laid off, but let's face it, maybe you didn't like the job that much, and now you have some time to pursue something that's a little bit more interesting to you. And that's what Kali is all about too, is that she wants us to find the most authentic version of ourselves. And it's interesting, that word authentic, because, you see it a lot right now. And I think even like Psychology Today may have had a big article, like, what does it even mean to be authentic? And I think that changes all the time as well, because we're always growing and we're always evolving. But I think that's more of that authenticity, is that you're doing things that light a little bit of a spark in your soul, things that you're excited to do. You're not plateauing, but you continue to evolve and to learn. And there was one quote that I just wanted to share. It was from Cheryl Strayed, who you would know her from Wild or Dear Sugar. But she writes, transformation doesn't ask that you stop being you. It demands that you find a way back to the authenticity and strength that's already inside of you. And I really love that. And that's the quote that I actually used for my chapter on Kali, because it's not that Kali wants us to become someone else. It's just sometimes we start to deviate from who we are, whether it's to please others, or it's just, just the situation, or just how we evolve. So it's not to try to become someone else. It's really coming back to yourself. Does that make sense? So Kali was the first goddess that I had ever written about. And it was kind of interesting too, because I didn't know that much about Kali when I was like, I'm this, but I could just feel her energy. So the little bit I must have garnered from her, just through some readings, really struck with me. And I'll give you an example of how Kali appeared in my life. So maybe it was about like 7 or 10 years ago. So I could feel that my marriage was it was just devolving, and I never expected it. I know this probably sounds terrible, but for most of the marriage, I never thought it was going to last forever. It was kind of just like, okay, we're just kind of going along to get along. And it just kind of felt stuck. And I had 2 young children, but I didn't really have any impetus to move forward. But it also wasn't a very great environment at home. So my husband and I at the time would be fighting a lot, knowing that we shouldn't fight in front of the kids, but that was really hard to do. I felt like I was walking on eggshells. I was trying to be out of the house as much as possible. So it wasn't like it was a good environment and like, yeah, we were just fine. It really was a very stressful environment. But yet, I just didn't know how do you just end this marriage? It just seemed too ominous for me to kind of figure out like how to actually end that. And then that's when I like to say that like Kali kind of came into my life. So I had met a man at yoga class, and it was a man that I wanted, we started going out for coffee together, in the mornings and stuff. And it was somebody that I really felt connected with. And that was really for me, the impetus, like, maybe I don't want to be in this marriage anymore, and it kind of gave me that impetus and act as a catalyst to start making the changes that I needed to live more authentically. So shortly after I met this man, I worked to get separated from my husband. And I think, it was definitely the best thing for both of us. But it's interesting. So it's not like, oh, okay, like just jumping from one relationship to another, because Kali knocks everything down. She doesn't want you to, she doesn't want like the safe landing for you. So it was interesting. So this was a man that I thought, I was like, this is going to be wonderful, and like, I was just so excited, it gave me the impotence to kind of finally wrap things up with my marriage. But I would say like probably like the day after I got separated and we were moving, this man who acted as a catalyst got to get back together with his ex-girlfriend. So I always like to say Kylie takes everything down, it's because that's the structure because she wants you to rebuild. She doesn't want you to jump into like the next relationship, or she would jump into the next job. It's like there needs to be that time of like, okay, what am I going to do for me? Like who do I want to become and what is next? And that's really where I've seen Kali in my life, is kind of this force that it was the catalyst to move on from my marriage, but it was also very destructive as well, where I was forced to kind of just come face to face back to myself and really understand what it is that, how I wanted to evolve. And that's how I've seen her in my life. So this is the time where I would say that we could go into breakout rooms for a bit, but we actually have a small, so maybe we could group. So I think maybe we just stay here. So I'd love to just start hearing from some of you folks too, like maybe consider like, what is an event that maybe, and you can take some time to think about this, that really kind of rocked your world? And, it could be divorce, job loss, and you can describe how it felt at the time and maybe how you felt now. Like, how was it an opportunity to transform or grow? And I'm actually going to stop the recording right now, and then I don't have to edit it after. So I'm going to stop recording. Yes, thank you. So if you'd like, you can take that Kali Mudra as we chant. Now I will share my screen. Okay. So the mantra is Om, which is it's like the salutation, and this is going to connect us with this like primordial feminine energy. Krim, that's the transformative power of Kali. So that's really her like seed mantra that's often associated with Kali, is Krim. And then Kaliai Kaye, Kaliai Kaye, Kali, Namaha, I bow to you. So Om Krim Kaliai Kaye, Namaha. And we will get started, but you can just take a comfortable seat to get started. Take a moment. You can come back into the breath, into the body. I always feel too, when we're connecting with a goddess, sometimes I think when we think of like a meditation, we think of being super still. If you're being called to sway a little bit back and forth, you can sway. Remember, feminine energy likes to move, and it's kind of circular and it goes from side to side. So it doesn't have to be quite so stiff or structured. Of course, you can do that too, but do what feels good. So that's really part of kind of working with the divine feminine as goddesses. It's less about the dogma and the structure and more about what feels good, what feels right and intuitive to you. So I'll take a moment here. Om Krim Kaliai Kaye Namaha. 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 Om Krim Kaliai Kai Namaha. Om Krim Kaliai Ke 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 Namaha. Om Krim Kalikaye 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 Namaha. You can release the mantra. You can release the mudra as well. Just take a moment here and kind of just observing any energy that you've created. You can rub your legs a little bit, starting to come back into the body. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Take a look around, just reorient yourself back to the room. Okay. How did that feel? You guys like the mantra? Yeah, I like mantras too. So we're going to spend a few minutes now, spend about 10 minutes just journaling. So I have some journaling prompts for you. But let me put some music on as well, too, for a moment. So if you have a pen and paper, we'll spend a few minutes journaling. Yeah, we'll sit so it's 4:57. So we'll do it until like 5:07. I'll put the journaling prompts right back up. So really, like, what does authenticity mean to you? You can consider what in your life is comfortable but no longer nourishing your growth. What would you be free to do if that structure was no longer there? And if you could do whatever you wanted without any limitations or consequences, what would that be? It'll take just about 2 more minutes. wrapping up. Okay. So does anyone want to share anything that came up? Maybe did they identify anything that feels safe but may no longer be nourishing your growth, or anything that came up?
I feel like I have some friendships that are kind of safe and comfortable, but not really. They're just people I know that they at some point were really close and important to me, and they're still important, but it's different. But I still feel like I spend a lot of time sort of maintaining the thread, and I'm not sure why.
Mm-hmm.
So that sounds really harsh, but Collie understands what I mean.
No, I understand. The other Crystal with a C.
Yeah, that was really powerful. I love all of that. My first time ever doing anything like this, and I love it. The questions were like really on point to even my oracle card readings this morning. So everything just flowed right together. I'm very, very comfortable in the type of role I play as a counselor, substance abuse counselor, mental health counselor, working in an agency. And the scary thing is I want to engage in my own business, my own private practice. But the question that talks about what would you be free to do if that structure was no longer there? That fear is finances. Finances may not be what I need them to be to carry me on, because there's so much I got to put into, that business, writing that proposal, that grant proposal. And so that's what came up. And for some reason, this been on my mind and spirit since last week, and I'm wondering, is Callie about to come on in and do something? But I'm open to it. But if I can do whatever I want to do without any consequences, that would be to take the time out and begin to engage in writing that business plan for myself, and learn how to function on my own without that seat of an actual agency or something, but have my own agency.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing. Yeah. Heidi.
In the Collie discussion before, I was kind of thinking of Collie coming in globally with the pandemic. There was a big, let me, come in and do this. And so actually my journaling kind of took that personal story within that global Collie energy. And I live in an area that's had very high COVID for a long time. And I'm with my husband, and my mom broke her femur right in the middle of the pandemic before vaccinations and such. And her doctor let us rehab her at home. And it was no small thing. So my heart goes out to you, Nicole, for caregiving. I've done that a lot in my life. Even I do health advocacy professionally as well. Anyways, so that routine of she still needs support. And so, that part, I can't quite leave that, but I also feel that what I'm missing, if I were free, would be that kind of living larger in the world and, traveling and just, doing those things at whim. And so I've kind of started to think about what that would look like, and started to kind of make little, like I told my husband, in 5 years, we will not live in this house anymore. So I'm trying to, I know Kali comes. Kali has come for me many times with health issues and such. So I want to set up a life that, kind of do it before the Kali energy completely pulls that rug out. So it's all kind of mixed for me, but that's where I'm kind of processing these questions.
Great, thank you. Yeah, and I just I wanted to just point out, just because you and Crystal were talking about, Crystal, you're talking about the finances, and Heidi, you're talking about your mom. But yeah, Kali doesn't mean we get rid of everything that's giving us like
no, you
support.
can't.
Just wanted to make sure that clear. We don't need to just leave or throw. But it's to continue to think too. Well, where do I want to go from here? Or where do I want to evolve? And again, it's just to, we don't want to have no structure, because we'd be wild and chaotic, and that wouldn't feel right to our nervous system. So it's really taking that balance of like, okay, how can I feel safe to move forward? And how do I have that vision of where I want to go? So it's like, yeah, Crystal, you're working now, but maybe you start that business plan like in your free time, because you know that that's your vision. So yeah, so I just wanted, I know you all know that, but I'm just like, it doesn't mean we have to leave everything tomorrow. It's just that, yes, we have that vision for the future and how we want to see our growth and evolution. And we're keeping that in mind too. Yeah. Anyone else? Anything come up with the journaling? Okay. So that is what I had for today's circle. So a few things. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to bring the monthly circles back starting in the new year. I know I had started them with the new moon, and I kind of felt that I like doing it on the new moon, yet it's kind of erratic if it's like, we're going to do it Tuesday, we're going to do it Wednesday, to shift around. So I'm starting to think maybe just like the first Sunday of every month, but I'd love to hear if how that would feel for folks too. Yeah. See, it's that structure we still need to have in place, going with the moon just seemed to, it seemed a little erratic for me, like trying to remember where that was. So I think as of now, we'll try to think, we'll do it the first Sunday of every month. So I'll put that up a new schedule. The other thing I wanted just to quickly touch on is that, one of the reasons that we stay stuck in the status quo, and this is something that I saw myself in both my marriage and in my previous career, is that we start to rely on like numbing behaviors, and this could include like having a couple of cocktails every day, after work, or maybe it's online shopping, or maybe it's binging on Netflix. So these things that we do that numb us out, so then we don't have to really deal with the fact that we're kind of bored and not growing. So they act as sort of a distraction, and they're really effective too, as a distraction, and they're really effective at numbing us out, but yet they do prevent us from living our most authentic and our most real life. So next week, I think it's Thursday on the 16th, I'll be hosting, it's like a free workshop Q&A with author Carolina, I'm going to mangle her last name, like Razakowska. I'm not that good at pronouncing things. I know a lot of words, pronunciation, but it's a very challenging last name. But she has a book coming out in January called Euphoric AF, not meaning as fucked, but alcohol free. And we are going to be talking just about how numbing behaviors, and she'll talk a little bit more because she can talk about her book too, alcohol in particular, really prevents us from living our most authentic lives. So that will be next Thursday. I haven't shared the details with anyone yet. I think I've mentioned it in a few talks, or I may have mentioned it in Facebook, but you guys will be receiving emails to sign up for that. And that's just to talk about that. And I think, alcohol is a big one for me. I remember at work, and just not being happy with my marriage or work, but coming home every night and just having a couple of cocktails or being able to commiserate with people from work. And it's like, oh, nobody's that happy with like their relationships or jobs. So I guess that's fine. But that's not what we want to be doing. We don't want to be commiserating, we want to be like thriving, excelling, and sharing our celebrations and successes. And I think it's just something that we've become so desensitized to in our culture, where it's like, let's go grab a drink, let's go do that, that it's something just to kind of be aware of, like, are there behaviors in your life? And it doesn't mean you have to be like, drinking excessively. Like, I didn't drink excessively. It was just habitually, like every single day, but just looking at these habitual behaviors that are distracting you from actually moving forward with your life. Like I said, they're very effective. I mean, they do a very good job at numbing and distracting us. But we're not supposed to mask our wounds or problems. We're supposed to heal them. So kind of we'll spend a little bit more time considering that next Thursday. All right, so let's just take a moment. We can just close out the circle. Again, you maybe place your hand on your heart, and we can take that visualization in of us sitting on a beach around a bonfire, and just having the opportunity to come together as women to share our experiences and consider together how we want to evolve and be able to witness each other. And I'm so grateful that you were part of the circle, that you became part of this community. And I look forward to the next time we can come together again. Okay, well, thank you. Great.
Before we go, I have a question.
Sure.
Hi, this is Connie, and I apologize, my camera is not working.
Oh, no worries.
The mantra, do you recommend that we do that? Repeat that to bring her the energy in, the transformational energy
Yeah,
in?
like I said, I think the mantras are a great form of meditation. It's a great way to connect with the deity. So yeah, if I can, I'll put that in the notes as well when I send out the replay, the mantra. But yeah, I think that could be a really powerful meditation practice, especially if you take a moment even before the mantra, kind of considering the goddess and considering the transformation that you seek in your life, take a moment considering how you want to evolve, where you want to go, and then spending some time chanting that mantra. I think that could be really powerful. And there are some, if you want like help going along, there's like some nice just YouTubes or Spotify's that also have like the Kali mantra if you want some nice music in the background as well too. So that's also an option, because sometimes it's nice to kind of have that music.
All right, well, thank you. And thank you for this today. This is really powerful and wonderful. I really enjoyed it.
Oh,
Yes.
So much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I'm looking forward to the next first Sunday.
Great. Yes. Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it too. And yeah, I'll start to put together the schedule. But if there's anything you're thinking like, oh, this is like energy or a goddess or something that I'm working with, shoot me an email and I'll add. I haven't created the schedule yet. So if anybody has something in mind that they want to kind of want to look at or discuss, then let me know. We can add that in.
All right.
All right. Well,
Awesome.
thank you so
Good
much.
Thank you.
And I will see you soon. Thank you. Be well.